everyone wants to know, before we get started, if they're watching this on YouTube or if they've ever seen you guys before, what's up with the black shirts? What's up with the Jesus flip-flops? What is this, a Steve Jobs vibe here, an ode to Steve?
Oh, man. I look good in black. It's
You do.
slimming. It's classic. It's timeless. I don't have to make any decisions in the morning on what I'm going to wear.
That's what my assumption was. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean,
piece of it.
it's just really simple, right? And so I guess I could have a simple, really brightly colored, but I'm trying not to stand out in that way. I find that if no one's commenting on my outfit, then I don't have to worry about it at all. And by the way, it's sort of timeless. And I don't mean like literally timeless. Like people 3,000 years ago weren't wearing black t-shirts and black jeans. But within our lifetime, you can find examples of anyone in culture who was cool, who was wearing all black. And while I'm not trying to be cool, I realize like, I don't have to worry about like trying to impress other people with the appropriate logos. And by the way, I think logos are a big problem in our culture. I'm going to purchase my identity. This says something about me if I have this horse or this check mark on my clothes. I am, in a weird way, paying to advertise for these corporations, and it becomes part of me. Hey, will you accept me if I wear the right logos? Will I be part of your group, your tribe, if I match the things that you're wearing? Or, even worse, will I be shunned by you if I wear the wrong logo? And we worry. We have this fear of this disconnection from other people. And so I'm able to declutter all of that.
That's true. Most people, as they get dressed, they go, well, someone's going to comment on this. I want to make sure I look good. And you guys always look good, but it's in a very understated way.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
In our corporate days, I had, 12 suits and 25 shirts and 30 ties. And man, picking that stuff out in the morning was like, it was stressful.
Just starting your day with anxiety.
Yeah, I had like 5 different pair or 6 different pair of Allen Edmonds shoes. And yeah, it's nice to just get up, put your clothes on, and I'm like, no, I know I look good in this. I wear this every single day. This is why I wear it every single day.
And that's part of minimalism is let's simplify the choices we have to make, the decisions we have to make in our day. And
100%.
a lot of people have different pictures in their mind of what minimalism is. And some of our listeners, they're coming from the leadership, the business world. How would you define minimalism in the simplest way possible?
Minimalism is the thing that gets us past the things so we can make room for life's most important things, which aren't things at all.
Oh,
so
that was good.
That's the pithy, response to that question. But really, minimalism is about living intentionally. We see 5,000 advertisements a day. There's a lot of input, and they're all telling us that we're not complete. But here's how you can be complete. And those messages, they seep in subconsciously. They make us form identities that we probably wouldn't form otherwise. And, minimalism is a tool to help us filter through all of that noise.
Love that. Well, you guys have incredible backstories that I think lean towards a lot of our audience as business owners and entrepreneurs. You both started out in corporate America, and in your 20s, you started kind of chasing the corporate ladder and going, how do I get to the next rung and how do I get to the next thing? Where did that come from? Was that just how you were kind of trained? Was that something that was learned?
Well, we grew up really poor, and we thought the reason we were so unhappy growing up wasn't from the dysfunctional households with alcohol abuse and drug abuse and sometimes even physical abuse in the household. We thought the reason we were unhappy was we didn't have any money. And so when I turned 18, I went out and I got that entry-level corporate job, and I realized, by 19, I was making $50,000 a year, and this is in the late 90s, right? And wow, this is possible. But I need to make more money, right? Because $50,000 isn't doing it for me. So maybe it's $65,000, maybe it's $90,000, maybe it's 6 figures. Then I'll be happy. And so I climbed the corporate ladder throughout my 20s. And with each new promotion, I spent more. I was spending toward the next promotion, accumulating things. I later learned that the average American household has 300,000 items in it, which would be wonderful if it was making us happier, more content, our lives more joyous and complete. But it's doing the opposite. It's incompleting us. It's making us miserable. It's making us go into debt. And it's keeping us away from the most important things in our lives. And so, yes, I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I was ostensibly successful. I had the big suburban house with more toilets than people. I had the luxury cars, plural. What's the plural of Lexus? Lexi?
Yeah, Lexus is.
I like Lexi.
Write that down, George. And so I found that I was living the American dream, But it was kind of a nightmare for me. It wasn't really my dream. It was this new version of the American dream of, well, if you keep accumulating, keep pursuing happiness, then eventually you'll be happy. And it was the opposite for me. 2 events happened to me. My mother died. My marriage ended both in the same month. And it was really those 2 events that forced me to look around and start to question everything that had become my life's focus. I realized I was focused on success and achievement. And in our culture, that means what? The accumulation of stuff. Looking successful is much more important than being successful, right? And so I started simplifying. I stumbled across this idea of minimalism and found all these different people living simpler lives. And they seemed a whole lot happier than any of the rich guys who I aspired to be like one day. I had this whole plan. I'm going to be a vice president by age 32, senior VP by 35, a C-level executive by age 40. Well, I'm 41 now, and I would have continued down that path, but I would have ended up just like the guys who I aspired to be like. As I got closer to them, I realized a lot of them were kind of miserable. I had one boss who was on his 3rd wife and 2nd heart attack. And I realized, well, wait a minute. I'm not going to be different. I told myself I'm going to be different. Oh, yeah, but I'll be different from them. But if I follow the same recipe, I'm going to bake the same cake. And I decided that I needed to go a different direction. I needed to simplify my life. I needed to declutter, yes, the excess material possessions, but also my idea of success and status and achievement and corporate clutter, relationship clutter. There's a lot of other clutter in my life I needed to let go of.
Wow. So success is not in and of itself a bad thing. And Ryan, you've talked about this, that, some types of success can lead you to misery.
Yeah.
So how do we avoid the bad kind? Because there's a lot of business owners out there who go, well, Ryan, Josh, I'm successful and I have a great life. So what are you trying to say? Success is bad?
Yeah, no, success certainly isn't bad. Even climbing the corporate ladder, not bad. Especially morally bad. I mean, I'm using bad as in a general sense here, but it's not that there's anything wrong with that per se. The question is what are you giving up to chase that success? And that's where it can start to be a problem. So for me, I just had a tornado of a lifestyle that I didn't know what to do. And the tornado of a lifestyle was me having copious amounts of debt, me chasing all these ephemeral things, drugs, alcohol, ephemeral relationships. And, any ex-drug addict will tell you hey, the drugs stop working eventually. And that's what happens. It stopped working for me. That's what I was using to pacify myself, to kind of push away these negative feelings. And then when that stops working, you got to ask yourself, I had to ask myself, well, what's really going on here? And so for me, I didn't even know, I'd never heard of minimalism before. Didn't know what minimalism was. I just know that Josh was happier. He was doing his job, had a little pep in his step per se. And I went to him, I'm like, hey man, why you got this pep in your step? Why the hell are you so happy? And that's when he told me about this thing called minimalism. So for me, I saw an opportunity for me to get back to the basics. Because when you think about minimalism, living intentionally, staying out of debt, bringing things intentionally into your life, being very deliberate with the relationships you have, it's all common sense stuff, But unfortunately, common sense is just not too common these days.